Whoa, it's Wulzy. Welcome back to the Remaking Top 10 Extreme Demon series. It has been quite a few months, honestly. But seeing the verification by Cursed of Abyss of Darkness by Exen and more, I think it's about time that we continued our new level, the Top 10, which we started back in 2021. We got Firework at the beginning. The goal is to create like a 7-star based on the Top 10 Extreme Demons, although it might be extended outside the Top 10 because, you know, these levels are getting verified way too fast. It's kind of scary what these players are capable of. Alright, so now I'm just gonna watch through Abyss of Darkness. This is FNM04 Showcase, a fellow British GD YouTuber. I'll link this botted showcase in the description. It's the best full detail version I could find, so we're watching this. And to me, this just seems like your average glowed up mega collab extreme demon. I mean, Abyss of Darkness has always been very structurally poor, the way it's been made. You know, there's some pretty good decorators in this roster, but the way that this is set out just makes it very difficult to decorate. So I don't blame them for how messy it comes across sometimes and how uncoordinated a lot of it feels. It doesn't really follow too much of a vibe apart from that black moon in the background. It doesn't look too bad, right? It's a little bit messy, obviously. It's encased with all of this like black ground spikage. Apart from this part, this is by Grenade of Tacos. It's a very good looking part. Probably my favorite part in the level. The whole thing just seems very muddy as it's got this like really dark black glow over the top. The colors aren't exactly suited to what they're trying to achieve. That line looks cool, but then you realize that this part is structured really strangely and it just makes the designs look so off. To give a specific example of how the detail is just kind of there, you see the chains are just floating here. There's a bunch of bricks as well, sparkles. It feels like the people that decorated just added layers and layers and layers without really considering what was in front or behind. It just seems like detail to check the box of, oh yeah, this is detailed now, we can get this sent and it's going to be rated on the demon list. Like really what this level is just putting lipstick on a pig so that an old level can get its chance on the demon list, and you can tell by the way it's decorated that not too much care is being put into how it comes across overall. It uses these objects around the edges so often. There's little to no structural finesse because almost every part just has random stuff everywhere, and it just becomes like a muddy, clouded mess of the same weird and ugly tropes, honestly, with like the black ground spikes surrounding everything. We've seen it a million times. It's kind of boring, but there are some good designs in this, I can't deny. Ooh, that is a cool pulse. But we're looking here, you see this design is also this design, is also this design, but flipped upside down over there as well. And I find this spider part to be really funny as well, and just this massive opening over here. It just makes no sense. But I think I could pretty easily recreate these ground spikes that are just encasing the entire level and preventing any sort of design from blossoming at all. I think I'm gonna put this on the C tier next to Slaughterhouse. I think Slaughterhouse has a bit more artistic merit, even if it doesn't look quite as good as a couple of parts in Abyss of Darkness. The structuring definitely takes this down a notch though. This level's kind of just like a slice of cheese. Like, yeah, cool, it's a slice of cheese, but at the end of the day, it's just a slice of cheese. Like, now it's time for our plan of the new structuring to be held in the next part. I made this gradient thing in the last episode, and I'm probably gonna keep it. I'm working on the ship gameplay. I'm probably gonna have a different game mode at the end of this block. Something like a mini UFO with an extra speed changer as the song kind of changes its sound. I don't know how to describe that. It kind of sounds like it comes into focus here. I wonder if I can get away with a black orb and a UFO and a 7-star. I mean, this seems to be fine, honestly. Like, it's pretty easily sight-read. It's enclosed enough to fit the Abyss of Darkness vibe, although it might be a little bit too difficult for this level sight-readability-wise. I think it flows pretty well within the context of what it's supposed to be. So in that case, I don't mind a couple of difficulty wobbles, you know, because it makes sense. The background for this part gotta be kind of dark, and I want it to go from blue to, like, a green. That's kind of what Abyss of Darkness does in the main part of the level. Okay, so then on layer 10, I need to make the same kind of background that just kind of floats there. We gotta have it on a color channel that just copies the background straight up, maybe with a little more brightness on the color channel like that. We'll make it lock to the x-axis. I switched it to B4, which is the bottom layer of the level. It's gonna lock right here, and it's also gonna move towards the player ever so slightly. I'll give it 150 on the x, negative, so it's gonna move 15 blocks to the left over the whole part. Then at the bottom of this slope, we need some like ground objects that's just gonna fill up the space beneath the slope. Then on 11, I want to have some glow pieces that kind of sit in that area for a second. They're going to be locked to the x-axis as well. B4, it doesn't really matter the Z order because they're going to be blending. I don't have a background blending color channel. That's kind of silly. Okay, cool, but it needs to be a lot brighter than that. And I think I'm also going to add a little bit of hue as well. That's going to sit on 32. Then I'm going to make a copy that's on 33 and a copy that's on 34. So there's going to be 3 glow pieces just chilling behind there that are then going to move upwards. I'm doing this a lot differently to the original level. I'm pretty sure the original behind this background just has glow there. But I want to make this a bit more lively since the song's kind of picking up here. Just repeating this process. And ultimately, I will take all of these triggers and start copy pasting, moving it 2 to the right, build helpering. We'll go to a different editor layer for this. I'm going to say 12, select this little row and flip it. Maybe we shouldn't flip it. Maybe we should just move it to a more appropriate spot. So for now, it's got to keep on copy pasting, build helpering, and increasing the layer so we get a bunch of these that just sit in their own spot, but the glow objects will move at different times. I'm realizing how many move triggers I've just used in this part, but it's fine. It's fine. It's only 684. Okay, we're starting to get the vibes of the background in the previous level for sure. Okay, my next move is to select all of these objects and put them on the same secondary editor layer so they can remain separated like this, but they're going to be on the same editor layer when I go to number 20, which is going to allow me to select them more easily if I need to in the future. Now I'm going to select filter all of these squares by setting up the custom delete here with select filter enabled. I'll copy paste, put them on editor layer 21. Then I'm going to increase the Z order by 1, increase the brightness in the HSV tab by about 0.08 and move them 1 block down and half a block to the right. Then I'm going to repeat that exact same process with the slope objects. So now we have like another layer on the front, which is brighter and establishes more depth. This is going to have its own group 89. I'm going to extend the length of it a little bit like so and give it a unique group 89. So on top of the 31 movement, 89 is going to move like an extra 8 blocks to the left. 89 is also going to have a little strange movement to itself. It's going to slowly shift it around every 10 blocks or so in a square pattern. So we've moved it 1 block to the right, 1 block down, then we need to move it 1 block to the left and 1 block up. And when repeated, that's just going to give it a wobbly feeling in the front. You'll see it kind of wiggle around right here as the movements get underway. Then I'm going to add 1 more layer in front of that on another Z order up, a new group as well. I forgot about that. Another slight hue change and more brightness. I'm going to flip this around the other way. As you can see, it's not the same direction as everything else. I'm going to extend this more on the right and it's going to move even further to the left. So allow me to just stick another one of these on the end. And it's also going to have a funny quirky little movement as well, except this is going to be exclusively on the Y. Up 20 and down 20. And I'm going to make this movement slightly opposed in 31 as a whole, which is going to move 30 up in 3 seconds to then go back down after 15 blocks. And my reasoning for making the distances between the triggers so short is so that this movement doesn't have a chance to finish before the next one starts, which is going to make it pretty turbulent in the grand scheme of things because, you know, you can't really predict the way it's going to move. It just kind of wobbles there. On the original set, I'm going to add another group 91, which you can't actually tell is being added because there's just so many objects with different groups it doesn't even go on the screen. But I'm going to add pulses for this now. It's going to make this a lot more lively. The original set is going to pulse first, copying the color of the background with much more brightness. I think then 2 blocks later, I'm going to make the other group's pulse, which is 89 and 90. Then I think 5 blocks after, they can pulse background with less brightness, which doesn't affect the front layers entirely because they have the added brightness. I also got to make sure that the background has a piece of this as well. So I'm going to copy the middle set of these pulses, move them a little bit to the left and increase the duration times on all of them. And now the background is going up and down with the rest and it looks pretty interesting. I think this does a good job with the gloomy and kind of unsettling atmosphere that's supposed to be provided with Abyss of Darkness. What if I set both of these front layers to B3, then select filtered out all of the glow and put it on B3 as well? Would that uplift the back layer and make this more interesting? Yes, it would. That actually looks a lot cooler than it did before. I'm happy with that. Now I think it's time to make the addition of the ground spikes in the level, which is going to be a pretty simple process. All I need to do is establish my color black here, rotate this ground spike around in a circle. I should fully structure this before I do that. Hold on. This process has been put on hold. Abort. Let this be a lesson. Structuring is far more important than whatever goofy ass ground spikes you add. Okay, so just placing this ground spike wherever I can, really. Okay, that's probably also a good spot, but it's covering up a lot of structuring. You see my issue with ground spikes like these? Like, look at all the black space I've got now with no decoration inside. This is how levels just become bland just from overuse of these. Okay, I'm setting up some ground spikes on T3 right now that are curving the other way. And I'll take like a little snippet of that, and I'll get my decoration set out right now with some glow that has a bit of plus and minus hue to it, just like that. So we have like a little base here, and then one of these little bush objects too. Then I will probably put the slopes in here. Okay, interesting. Just mixing up the way that these slopes are rotated and stuff. Okay, this one is intended to go inside the blocks because you see I've added another glow piece behind the bramble, and it just looks way better. There we go, dude. We're rocking it now. Okay, this is looking kind of nice right now. If I can make the glow inside the ground spikes flicker or something, this is gonna look sick. Oh yeah, that's a lot of glow for me to flicker on and off. So it's gonna start on 0, then it's gonna go up to half, and then back down to 0 immediately, then up to full, and I think it's gonna pulse white. So these flicker on and off, you can see on the mouse cursor. And I'm gonna add little pulses to 92 every now and then, which maximize its brightness, just temporarily on a 0.05, 0.5, something like this. So it goes super bright sometimes, which I like, and that does kind of look cool in normal mode. I do like it. I don't use the shake trigger very often. In fact, I don't think I've ever used this on this channel. It would help if I enabled them. Since there's no easing on a shake, what I've been doing is just copy pasting them and decreasing the strength by about half every time. Okay, now we're going to add some glow to T2, which is going to go behind the first layer of ground spikes that I added, I think on background blending once again. There we go. I got some little deco I can throw around. Perfect. It's fitting on every circle because they're all pretty much the same. Okay, cool. We got some extra glow in here, which looks nice. But again, I'm probably going to go and give that the flickering group. I'm not going to say it's better than the original part because that's not even the goal of the series. The goal of the series is just to recreate the vibes. Okay, I am going to make a spike design right now using color channel 14, which is background blending, with the detail cranked down in its brightness. You can probably use some sort of fake spike inside in order to create our little gradient in it. Flip it upside down and use that again. Except this can be a flickering object on 92. I can have its values copied and kind of spread around the spike. Okay, not bad. We can definitely do better though. Just need a little bit more. And then what people do is they add a black spike on top. Maybe not that scale, but still they have the black spike on top, but then they add the little side pieces inside, but also have this light color on them. And then what I might do is add a dark outline on the spike with the base on black and the detail on black blending, just like that. So we have like the flickering look of it, but we also have the little design on the inside. So now we have this spike that we can copy paste around with ease. Neat. We have a spike. It's not exact, but you know, it is what it is and it does the job. It's not going to be nearly as bright and flashy. And for that reason, I'm actually going to add a little glow piece on it that has the flicker group with the rest. Okay, boom. Our spikes are looking smooth in this. I actually really like how it ties in with the rest of the bright objects. Okay, now I have to make a structure, which is quite scary. I don't know. How do I do this? Dude, I don't know how to design. This sucks. Let me design an easier looking block, actually. Please look good in game. It looks... it doesn't look good. Oh no. Get rid of the stinky outlines, the stinky designs, and we'll bounce back. Third time lucky. Okay, I made the base of the block a lot lighter. Then I need to copy the values of it, and I need to use these metallic blocks. The metallic blocks are going to be on about 33% opacity, and I should layer them on top of the block. The outline I make to the block is just going to be for the outside, and I'm going to add small object blending glow on the top of the object, like so, on a full Z layer above, because it's blending, and it just gets shoved to the bottom no matter what I do. Now I need to focus on the patterns on the inside, which again, I want to use the metal blocks for, but this time on a lower brightness than what I've been using. Something like this would be nice for me, which doesn't look great, but I'm confident. Pretty sure if I use an object like that, which has a black blending base and a bright detail on the outside, like 14, which is background blending, that I can create a nice little outline right here. In fact, that can be put on the flickering group, which changes its colors drastically, as you can see. Not quite. It needs to be much brighter on the inside, but I think I'm onto something here. I wonder if I can pulse the dark objects in the blocks. That looks a little bit better, but it just seems slightly off again. This pulse on 92 pulses everything to copy the color of the background with more brightness. But what if I set that to detail only? Because that's just going to make these little lines on the inside bright and not the actual insides of the block. With dark objects all around, something like that. And I think I'm going to try and stick out this design and see what happens if I just use it for the whole thing. I am ruining this whole part with my inability to design, and I love it. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, this is torture at the moment. Designing all of this knowing that it's just gonna end up being mediocre in the end. Okay, we're getting there. I've outlined everything. I'm just adding the glow to the top of every line. Like any surface that faces down or up is just getting glowed up. Probably going to be easiest if I just copy this corner and find any spot that I can put it in. This is a very essential detail, and it's the one that I actually got the pattern off. So when I am designing the blocks, I need to have this in immediately. Otherwise, I've got nowhere to start from when I'm making the design. This just looks kind of ugly in my opinion. I'm pretty sure it's to do with the base color. I'm not gonna lie. If I pull 17 down to black, it's not much better. Low opacity, perhaps? Wait, this looks better. This looks better. Oh my goodness. It's happening. The part was going well up until this point, you gotta admit. I blame Abyss of Darkness itself and totally not my skill issue. Abyss of Darkness, you will be invoiced for my time spent on this. Wait, I completely forgot an element of it. I forgot to add this outline. Dude, I thought I was nearly done. Oh! For the edges of these objects where I can't fit these objects in, I'm literally just adding like a huge pillar because I don't know what else to do. Or maybe I should, yeah. Wait, no! What? My layering sucks, dude. This is never going to end. Oh my goodness, dude. And this is half spaced. Are you kidding? Oh, and you can't flip these objects around. Oh my god. Wait, someone actually told me a trick for this in the comments. Oh, dude, you can just snap it if that happens. Bro, it low-key looks worse with that block in place. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it looks so messy. I might just delete that layer, honestly. Yeah, you're crazy if you think I'm sitting here putting all those objects in for it to just look mid. Now, all we gotta do is put this little object in, and this object is so easy. This is easily the longest time I've spent designing anything in any of my videos lately. This took so much time. Design is somewhat fun for me, even though I can't do it very well. I think that's what makes it fun, honestly. If I copy paste this on itself, can I get away with that as just a slope here? I'm just gonna add chains around the blocks, because apparently that's the cool thing to do. I mean, I can't say it's bad, like it's working. I'm also gonna make a gear design using 14 blending. That's gonna be shrunken down towards the center to make it more opaque there, and I'm also gonna add a glow piece, one on full scale that's gonna flicker, and one on regular scale that's gonna have the same values as everything else. That's gonna be our little decoration alongside a little arrow that's gonna sit inside it on different scales. So we have a 1.75, we have a 1.21, there's gonna be a little one down here. Okay, we get to copy paste this, rotate it slightly so the arrows make sense, and check this out. It also has little glow beams. The way you make these is you put them on a blending color channel and you squish them together. So then if I put them on B3 or something, I can shoot them behind the blocks, and boom, we have like a little line here. Classic see-through saw. But alongside, I'm also gonna add this little curved object that just kind of links it into the edge of the level a little bit, like so. And boom, I think that's as far as I'm gonna go for the Abyss of Darkness Extreme Demon remake. Man, this was so tough. I know it's a stupid phrase, but that was easily the hardest remake I've done so far in this series, man. Just the full design and everything just really made me rack my brains. But I'm glad it's done. We got the third part of the top 10 series out of the way. Good lord. Abyss of Darkness is not to be messed with. I've learned my lesson today. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Remaking Top 10 Extreme Demons series. Thank you for being patient with this. It should be back in the swing of things because I actually feel like building on it now. I have all my motivation back for YouTube. This is so awesome. Check the links in the description, leave a like and subscribe, and have a good day.